Hi, friends. Today, I would like to share my thoughts and my personal views on investments. Caveat though, this is my personal opinion. Uh, if you want to listen just to have an alternative viewpoint from what you already have, perhaps. So, for me, property is one of my favorite type of investment for several reasons. And this is not because I'm a property agent or consultant. Let me explain why, which I think a lot of people actually they don't understand around the world. Okay, uh, first and foremost, okay, the premise must be that when we invest in a country, for example, and then from that country, then we filter down to what property type, and then filter down from there, and then we choose and we decide on the type of property, right? Yeah. So the premise is this: number one, the population must be increasing, right? There's growth. There is growth in terms of the population. Why? Because these are the same people and humans that will be utilizing the property, whether for living or for business or for renting or whatever, they'll be using it. There's when people increase in a particular area, of course, demand increase, right? And when the demand increase, okay, supply become relatively as it's more inelastic or more not flexible supply, so it will uh, tend to increase the price in terms of the capital appreciation. That's one of the premise. A population must be growing, where a population growing and able population. That means this population is able to afford and is contributing to the economy and the society, right? Creating more jobs and all that, which I think Singapore is doing a great job on this. Okay, that's one of the premise. And also number two would be the good laws and order of a particular country. The laws and order, the court system, the judicial, the lawyers, the politics even. Yeah, this is two is very important. Yeah, when the legal and political situation of a country is not so good, or people lose trust in the government, then even the laws, become less effective, and therefore it will encourage a lot of things like crimes and all that. Like we see in a lot of developing countries, whereby some of the judges they can be bought, some of the judgment handed down is not fair or seen as biased or skewed, and basically transactional society whereby justice can be bought. That is a red flag actually for investors, right? And constant government changes with contradicting or conflicting policies also, it's not good because business and investment is a kind of a middle to long term kind of horizon. We need to set up the business, set up the initial capital investment, set up factories, pay the labor, you know, and the horizon is 5, 10 years at least for businesses to set up in a country to create jobs for the people to prosper. So these two premises to me is very important. You cannot undermine these two. And that's my requirement to invest in anything in any country. These two requirements, which is the population increase and the government and the political situation of a country, right? And next, why property? Okay, property is one of the ways. Okay, Warren Buffett say that if you want, to increase economically status in your economic status already, you need to find something that help you find money, okay, earn money while you sleep. And property is one of the instruments where you can do that, okay? Maybe stocks and shares also can, okay? But there is one thing that which stocks and shares does not have compared to property. Okay, the property can utilize leverage. Stocks and shares also can utilize leverage, but not with low risk. So property can utilize leverage with considerable considerably low interest. Okay, first thing, the good thing about property, right? Based on the two premises that we discussed, okay, increasingly over the time, over the years, the price would increase. Okay, assuming population ceteris paribus, everything else constant, the price will appreciate over time, like how you see in Singapore with limited land, right, and increasing population. And basically, for with property, you can control, right? You can the space that you own, you have certain considerable control within that leasehold kind of restriction or constraint. It can be freehold or 99 years, or maybe 30 years or 60 years, but you have certain degree of control there. Whereas in a lot of investment instruments, items like mutual funds and all those uh, investment link kind of products and all that. Okay. Yeah, they then mostly you rely a lot on these professionals to manage the money for you. But and then you'll get your fund locked in for 10, 15 years or maybe 5 years, right? At minimum, you need to put in that money every year, that sum, and commit like savings for savings. And they say, yes, it will increase over time. Yeah, but they will always will require to understand that you will not fault them for any losses which is beyond their control, right? So basically, uh, they got to invest with the money they don't have, which is your money, but they have limited downside, which is which is very good for them. Okay, and they don't actually promise you very, very high return as well, maybe about 8% for a considerable sum of money, right? And if you ask them, can they deliver 10%? Some of them say, no, 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 cannot. Why? Because they take a cut from the gains that they earn with your money. So they need to pay themselves also. That's why they cannot give you the return that you want. Part of the reason is that. Whereas property, right? Because you got to control it, you can hire people you choose to control it. Okay, number one, to do the um, whatever, manage the tenants, right? You can hire professional agents and all that, commission based, performance based, and you decide on the contract, right? And the business agreement, how you want to arrange this. You call the more or less there's some control there. You put the clauses in whatever contracts that you do, okay? And moreover, because the price of the property increase, banks are more easy. Once they see your track record, the mortgage has been paid on time because of stable tenants, your credit worthiness increase, and therefore they can extend more credit to you. And basically, yeah, you have a line of credit with the bank eventually after many, many years, and you have proved your credit worthiness. And and on top of that, when what happens is that means to say the bank will lend you money at I mean considerably lower interest, okay? And you can do things like, that means to say like a property, for example, you can get 70, 80% loan to value. That's the bank's monies, right? Extended to you. And you with that 10, 20% of equity of your own money you put in, you actually control 100% of the investment, meaning to say your money is working at least 5 times faster than as opposed to if you invest in stocks and you put in all your money to buy that whole stock. Okay, I mean, of course, we can do things like options and all that thing. That's another instrument altogether, and they are also risk. But I'm talking about the low risk kind of alternative. Okay, because investment is mostly the most important thing about it is we can manage our risk, right? So again, I say the leverage part. Okay, making our money work harder for us, And on top of that, we can do things like equity release and refinancing. And that is unlocking the value of the property over time and taking out the excess value and use it for whatever use that you need to do to reinvest in something, do business or whatever, right? So it's just a matter of time. The time value of money is working in that property. You can use it as a line for you to get more loans from the bank and all that to do a lot of other things that means you can roll the money. Meaning to say, the returns, let's say, typically, if the conventional financials people are giving you 5%, which is almost guaranteed kind of thing. When a property gives you the same 5% in terms of returns on yields, but considering that you only pay 20% equity, that means to say the return is 5 times. I don't know whether the money is working 5 times faster. I don't know whether you understand this concept. That means to say, instead of putting 100,000, you're only putting 20,000 at work, but you get the gain from the whole pot, from the whole property, without management fees. Like for example, these financial people, right? Whether you win or lose, they win or lose, you still need to pay management fee to them. Can be substantial over time, right? All the stocks, trades, and all that. Yeah. So, I mean, this is my opinion. Um, again, I know there are other people that knows how to make their money work a lot faster by using other uh, derivatives and instruments. But again, caveat to all this comes with uh, corresponding risks. The risk that is can be considerable if you are not financially literate. So yeah, I mean, just my opinion, and let me know what you think. And if you want to know more about how you want to make your money work for you safely, and that you can also build a legacy for your children and your next generation, so that the inflation won't hit them and that it becomes unaffordable for them when they grow, when your children grow older, you see. So as a hedge against inflation on that, I mean, do um, PM me and we can continue from there and we can discuss further. And yeah, so thank you for your time and take care. God bless.